hello.
That's the worst introduction I've ever heard. Hello. What the hell?
Sorry. Hello there. Can I tell you, we're on video. This is a raw video. We're going to talk about Purple Haze in a second. But before we get to that...
And there's nothing funny about this game.
No, but it is incredibly fun.
It's amazing.
I said that. I said, hello there, to my son, because he was on his little FaceTime with his group of friends playing video games online. And one of them kind of half said it, and I said, hello there, which is from Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. And my son turns to me and he says, oh, did you know that was a reference? And I was like, yes. Like, he knows Star Wars as a meme and as a GIF, and here's me, and it's my entire lifestyle.
Yeah, we've watched
and it's my profile picture, and I grew up playing with them toys and reading those books, and he's like, it's a meme, right?
Oh,
thanks,
boy.
kid. I have a 10-year-old, so...
The new generation. Just worthless.
And yet, 2 weeks ago, we'll get to Purple Haze.
Maybe. We might.
And yet, 2 weeks ago, we were just like hanging out in the evening, and like he stopped doing everything he was doing and just started to watch Empire Strikes Back fully on Disney Plus.
That's pretty incredible.
And I was like not even in the room.
That's incredible.
And he was like, "This is my favorite one," and I was like, "Oh, why?" And he was like, "Because of the big snow battle." I'm like, "Damn right."
Yeah.
But like,
it's one of the reasons.
I was like, "All right."
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
No pressure from me.
I mean, a man of discerning taste. I will say that.
Yeah.
Because that is the best one. Don't care what anybody says.
So
he also eats cold hot dogs, though.
No,
he doesn't.
I do.
You do.
He has to have them warmed up like an aristocrat.
Like an aristocrat, yes. Well, we ate some rations today.
Oh, God.
And they helped us.
Okay.
Little additional rations.
Yes. And
they have cold turkey loaf in there.
And they help,
I guess,
immensely. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to... Anyway.
On to the discussion about this game.
Of Purple Haze by PHALANX. And first off, extremely grateful to PHALANX for providing us with this, because this is an advanced production copy.
Yes.
This is fully complete. This is everything that you would get in the game, up to snuff. A couple of years ago, it feels like longer than that.
It was at least 3 years ago.
We did a preview of this with a prototype copy.
Might have been 4. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And it was...
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
There it is.
Yes.
So we played that. There was a full preview video on that. If you watch that, there has been some significant changes to this.
Yeah.
So you can get a gauge. The story part of it, very similar. The way that the missions function and this larger strategic board, the time, the stress, the threat, the encounters, a lot of Marines function similarly. The tactical combat, totally different. Like they really, if you watch that video, this is unrecognizable.
And this is a big improvement.
It is much better.
It is, to me, it's way more like a war game now.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like that abstract combat was, one, a little wonky, 2, didn't necessarily feel like we were doing what we were doing here. And less strategic.
It felt like it was a carnival game because it was like these little targets on this like profile view, and it was like the VC are popping up, and you have to roll the dice, and you can pop them, and it was okay, but it was like, this is a great story game that also happens to have a way to resolve combat.
Well, and now it's merged together.
Here's a great story game with a really fun tactical thing that is much less opaque. Let's put it that way. It's much easier for you to grok. And you know, if you've played a lot of things, this reminds me of Too Many Bones in a way. Do you remember?
I do remember Too Many Bones. A Euro style game.
Conceptually, there's some similar things, although it's different.
And we also kind of talked. This is a little similar in some ways to Gloomhaven concept, right?
The way you
way you set things up. There's little maps drawn in the rule book or the scenario book that says, set this up like this.
And there's different stipulations where it's like, hey, if X, Y, and Z, remove these guys,
Yep,
or
or
add
put
these
these
guys,
guys,
or
yeah.
set the initiative differently. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of those scenario things when you kind of zip into a combat.
But that's the only comparison with that. I bring that up only because we've also played a lot of Gloomhaven and Frosthaven.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is a either solitaire or cooperative Vietnam game.
And this would be amazing, solitaire.
Oh, good gracious, yes.
I mean, you could do, now it's a lot, right? Would you still have all 6 guys?
you always play 6 guys.
So you're going to play the 6 guys as your squad. There's a lot to remember. Different little abilities, different little bonuses. You got your different weapons and your equipment, and
But doing it 2-player,
Splits it
3
up.
guys, really easy to manage.
Yeah.
Doing it with more players than that, you would have more of a fun time with the social side of it.
Yeah,
You would
yeah.
just have fewer guys and things like that, but it would still be an enjoyable table time still.
I guess the reason I wanted to bring that up is I very much enjoyed this cooperatively. We always enjoy cooperative
Yeah.
games because we're talking things through and deciding, okay, what's best and how do we do this? And
Especially with the games that have, like, so this has
The tactical-
the narrative book in it as well, where
yeah.
you read it out and everyone's
And
like,
decide,
ooh,
what do we do?
and then we talk it through of like, hey, are we going to be told turd bots in this mission, or are we going to be war criminals, or are we going to be like nice guys?
I definitely think our play out of this was more Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox and a little bit of Platoon, but not Elias and his guys, more Barnes and his
Yeah.
dudes. We were more Barnes in this one. Now,
Which is not normally our style.
no, it really isn't. And I want to emphasize it. We didn't do anything overtly illegal.
No.
We roughed people up a little bit, trying to get, and that sounds terrible, I realize, trying to get additional truth out of them. And we kind of felt like, ooh, he's not really being totally honest. Then we got a little aggressive. What I'm saying is we didn't torture. There was no torture.
we did not technically torture anyone, yes.
We didn't torture. We stepped on punji sticks twice. We got tortured.
We avoided the pudgy sticks once,
And we stepped on it once.
and then there was a booby trap bomb in
and
a
we all
US
took
Army
side
bag
damage.
that was real bad.
Yeah, that was bad.
But
But I bring that up because typically we don't do that, but you are confronted with those choices.
yeah, and that's what's brilliant about this, right? So you have this mission book, and we play. This is the one we just played. I'm kind of making this, and there's close to 50 entries of this,
I see that. That was really
and it's
well done.
some of the writing in it's really good. It feels like a Vietnam film, right?
Yes. Well, they swear at the right times. They use some of the vernacular, the
Yes.
slang, which is cool.
Yeah, the themes in there. But sometimes, hey, set up an ambush, here's a combat. Sometimes it is, hey, there's this kind of weird situation. What do you want to do? Do you want to invest time to slowly do this more safely?
Look at the
Or
art.
do you want to rush through it
Yeah.
and be more risky? Or you get these, kind of moral quandaries.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think this guy's telling us the truth, or he might be, but if we rough him up, we'll definitely know.
Yeah.
But if we rough him up and they were telling the truth, is there some knock-on consequences to that, whether people are going to turn on us and things are going to go south?
And the interesting thing about the game is it instructed us in these little narratives to write down certain keywords.
Yes.
On the mission log as well as the campaign log. So it was like a dual, and all the missions are written there, right? 1 through 9.
Yeah, it's 1 through 9, and because this is a campaign.
But then when you were doing the scoring, which I was just looking at again, very interesting. It goes down and it's like, if you did the primary, you get 3. If you get secondary, you got 3 or 2. And then mission log entries, it said, hey, if these keywords showed up because you did them, you get X. And I think we ended up getting 11?
We
Experience?
maxed out mission 2.
I think we did everything.
Which was...
Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know if I could have planned to do that, because some of the stuff was decisions we made,
Sure.
and some of it was in very gray areas
Well,
of things.
and I don't want to spoil anything, but there were a couple very key decisions about, do you go here or do you go here? Because you're under a time crunch.
Yes.
We were trying to get, I believe, our primary objective by 1100,
Yes.
right? And we literally hit it at 1100 because
we hit it before. We actually hit it
Did
at
we?
10. Yeah.
But because we went up to objective number 2 first, we learned some things, got some keywords, came down here, learned some more, and then followed that up. And we were
Yeah.
like, oh, that actually existed, and we did something. That was cool.
And then there was stuff from like really early on in the mission. Like we gained a keyword from something that we had chosen to do that was risky and kind of half paid off.
Yep.
But that keyword came back because it was something that we had learned and built
Yeah.
upon for later sections and
Yep.
things that happened. And it came up another 2 times where it was like, oh, if we hadn't have done that, if we'd have just done the other option,
Wouldn't have come
the
up.
game looks very different.
Yeah.
Which was
Which is
really, really
interesting.
cool.
We also talked a little bit about this because we just played War Stories Occupied France like a month ago.
Yes.
This game has a lot of that similar narrative, kind of choose your own adventure style.
Yes.
But it really creates such an interesting series of events that I got the same feeling with that one that I did
Yeah, this
with more tactical combat in this one.
and just more beef to it, right?
Yeah,
War
there's a
Stories
lot.
has 3 missions and it's in this tight package. It's really well written. It's really well done. But it's
This
kind of
has
this.
9.
It's a light game. You pay $30-40 for it on Amazon. It's really, really good. The writing's really good. But that game is also like every decision is just how many resources do I commit.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, I think,
You're still rolling dice
more
here.
familiar where it's like, hey, it's almost role-playing aspect. Hey, I've
Sure.
got this value of an attribute. I'm going to roll this many dice looking for successes, right?
Yep.
It feels very Arkham Horror, very those kinds of games as well, which I love, right?
Yep.
I love a good dungeon crawler. And this kind of has, it's a Vietnam dungeon crawler if you think about it.
Yeah.
Where you're crawling through this, you come up with encounters. There's encounter cards. You get to a combat, you go to the battle board, and you do a scenario out of the book.
Yep.
And it just works really well together. There's a lot of stuff,
Well, and there's a lot of moving parts too.
a lot of things to remember.
Yep. A lot of little keywords on your guys, on their equipment. And that's why playing it solo is going to be a little more challenging because you're going to have to cover 6 guys. I was really just focused on
Yeah.
these 3. You were keeping your guys straight. And
And
you
I still
ultimate-
forgot some things.
Well, you ultimately
Yeah.
missed, I think, their real cool
like
special
the
abilities.
personal abilities, because
Yep.
I was focused on
The equipment.
on like the equipment, and also like the specialization
Yeah.
cards.
Yep.
I was like, I gotta remember to do those.
Yeah, yeah.
But then like, I didn't even know they had those until
Yeah.
right at the end.
Which
there.
was
Like,
funny because I was using my, which one did I use?
it was the squad leader where he could move guys.
Well, but that was his specialization.
And that's what I thought it was. And so that's what I
Yeah.
thought you were doing.
Well, but I knew of these, and I kept waiting for them to happen. Oh, this guy! He at the beginning of every combat round, before he activated, which is once per combat, he adds soft cover.
But I thought that was
You
on
thought
his
that was-
specialization.
got it. It was on
Somehow I
his-
wasn't
it was
really
on
paying
his
attention.
ability.
So that is something to bear in mind, especially if you play this solo. You don't have someone else to kind of help to remind you that of.
Yeah.
Playing these co-op is really good for that, where you're doing it together, and so it's like, hey, remember to do this, or oh, didn't you have that ability you used? Hey, that would be really good right now. And you're like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about it. Doy.
This was really fun. I really enjoyed the combat mechanic.
Which that is the same from
Right.
how it was.
But it's the functionality of the matching. You know, you've
the
got
dice rolling specifically.
that
the resolution.
you've got your base die, which typically you have like 4 or 5, maybe 8. Right.
For abilities, it's anywhere from 3 to 4 for your traits.
Got it.
Combat is usually a bit more.
And then you almost always get at least 2 purples.
Yeah, 3 for traits, 2 for combat.
Yep. So there's 7 dice, and then you might get 1 or 2 of the yellow dice, which are crit.
Yes, and
Critical hits.
those are like combat only, pretty
And
much.
then you're rolling these dice, and you're literally okay. So there's a match.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of matches. Holy crap!
So the white dice are kind of what you would normally roll, and your targets to hit with those are whatever shows up on the purple
color,
and yellow
yep.
dice. So you roll your purple dice, and then you roll your white dice, and you're
Yep.
looking for matching numbers, basically.
Another 2.
And if you can, each match you get, and there's some modifiers to some of those, like the crits do double matches and things like that.
Just really cool.
That's the number of successes, the number of matches. So it's not just you know, hit 5s and 6s.
Right.
You could have done that, but you get the dice pool. Sometimes you roll a bunch of dice for like the airstrikes and the claymores.
Yeah.
It just feels really good. And then you get to sit there and kind of figure it out, and that tension lingers of like, I've got 2, 3, 4. Oh, I needed 5 to kill that guy.
Yeah.
So the process of the resolution is also pretty fun
I thought
too.
very interesting, but also enjoyed the initiative. I thought that was really good. The encounters, that was my one concern. Now, we played that one mission, and how many encounter cards did we get through? 5 or 6?
4 or 5, yeah.
And there's still, I guess there's more than I realized. There's another 9.
Yeah,
So you're not going to see all of them in every single game.
No, but there's if you look, there's 9 general ones that will show up every time,
And then
there's 4 or 5 mission specific ones.
Okay, there you go.
So the mission specific ones have more targeted
Okay.
flavor.
I didn't realize that.
And so in the box there's like missions 1 through 9 in there.
Got it.
Those
Well, that
will go
will-
in and these will come out.
That will add a lot of variety then. I don't know. I just had a great time playing the game, experiencing it, trying to understand it. I think our first couple encounters, we were like, holy mackerel. They were
Yeah.
rolling like 12 dice.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the first
And
combat that we
crushing us.
were in was like, like we were in trouble because I think we weren't doing well with our rolls. And
Oh,
they
no, I
were-
missed my first attack
and you
every
know,
time.
I'm rolling with an M16 that has like a base of like 4 dice, and it was like, it did like 1 or 2 damage, and they got cover, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, and then they chucked like 8 dice back at us with crits and
Yeah.
lots of focus, and it was like,
That's bad. Yep.
okay, but the way that
Yeah.
it works is that combat's, you know, kind of hard and fast. It's short and it's bloody, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. It's very high stakes. But if you can get the initiative and then you just kind of gun them all down, or like call in your
Yeah.
airstrikes or artillery.
Well, it's the same
It's really
concept as a
nice.
lot of these kind of games where the more enemy units you eliminate before they can act, the less attack. Gloomhaven's the same way, right? You've got 5 or 6 enemies. If we
Every
can kill
tactical
1 or
game,
2, they're not going to attack us. I liked that. I enjoy that because I do think that's tied to reality. You're trying to suppress or eliminate, threats. You don't worry as much about the guys in the way back because they don't necessarily.
And this, there's also
Although that
the
doesn't
built-in
play.
like kind of break mechanic where if you can eliminate half the guys,
They're going to run away.
there's a die roll to see if they'll run away at least. And
Which is also very Vietnam-esque as
Yeah.
well. They didn't just stand and fight. I mean, they would attack you, ambush you, fight you for a few minutes, and then they start dragging the bodies away and they run away, right? That's just what they did.
but
For many
But if
reasons.
you can wipe the board, you get double experience, which is really strong.
That didn't happen for us. I
Didn't
think,
happen to us.
once.
I think we had 3 combats.
Yeah. That's going to be rough. That's going to be rough.
Yeah, it has to be a small combat, and you have to like really go real
Yeah.
hard on them. So there's some interesting lessons to learn there as well.
Because the other thing is you have 6 soldiers. That combat ends when all 6 have activated.
that is one of the way it ends.
Yeah, right. So you got to do some good work to really eliminate a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a great time with this, and we're gonna play this again.
Yeah, like
very soon.
Look at how many guys we didn't choose to play with.
Yeah, a bunch.
That's nuts.
Who is this happy guy we got? Was he in there?
I swear I saw a guy called Happy.
Because he was a guy that we rescued. I shouldn't have said that. That's kind of a.
Oh well.
I don't see him. Maybe it's another card somewhere.
I could have sworn I
Like
saw.
another deck.
Maybe it's every name but that.
Ah, there he is. Right there he is. Last card. Okay, so he's just another soldier with a couple different abilities.
Yeah.
Born lucky.
But I don't know. I think you can
Swap
play with
him
him
in.
normally.
Well, if we have guys die,
does he have to say something on the back?
we
That's
could then
like,
maybe
hey.
swap him. No, that's when they die.
Oh, okay, yeah, which we never did. Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's
Interesting.
a lot of things to explore in this game. That's for sure.
Well, and then there's 9 full missions,
yeah,
and then the other.
and they're all very different.
Oh yeah.
So this one's a crash. This is the first scenario that we had originally played.
And we decided to kind of forego it because it really looked very similar.
Yeah.
We wanted to experience something.
And so
new.
we did a regular patrol. There's a recon patrol, search, sweep, convoy.
That sounds cool.
And there's a convoy marker.
Yeah,
You
well, there's
drive across
gas.
the board,
There's gas, too.
Zippo Road,
Nice.
area cut, and then
Tet.
Tet offensive. That's just the base.
So this
game.
one's like building a fire base.
Yeah, and I presume you're doing it when it's hot.
Yeah.
Like,
So then there's like 3 other boxes.
is it
There's like
3
a-
or 4?
Maybe it's 4, but it's like
I know there's
tunnel
blue, purple, and
rats.
red. There's at least 3.
Yeah, there's like tunnel rats. I can't remember what, but I assume they each have multiple missions.
And those are all pretty big box expansions, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they add a lot of stuff.
Now, this is an expensive game, right? This is not going to be a $50 game.
How much is it? Do you know?
I saw it. It was like 90.
Okay.
So, but it's worth it. There's 9 full missions, tons of stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting game. I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Very much
Well, and
enjoyed
if you're worried about the pricing, right? It's this mission start to finish 3 hours.
Yeah, about 3 hours, which was a pretty good investment,
And
right?
mission 1 was slightly shorter, but not much.
Probably 2.5 hours.
So you got
Yeah.
27 hours worth of stuff in it.
That's a lot.
$3 an hour.
Well, and then
you're
you
doing
can
good.
come back and play them again and just do different stuff,
Yeah.
right? We could have chose to go some other places and experienced a totally, well, not other places, but made different choices.
Right. But also dump these 6 guys,
Put
get
in new
6
guys,
new
yeah,
guys,
out of all
and
this
all of a
whole-
sudden your squad is different. Your
Yeah.
mission outlooks look very different because they got different abilities, they have different attributes, and it's trying to make it all work with what you've got. So
Yep.
there's a lot of variety in here. I am extremely excited for those big box expansions to come as well because I love what we were doing here.
Was the word paparazzi a real word in 1970? 1960s, was that a real word?
Probably. I do think that
I feel like
this.
that's a more modern thing, but maybe I'm wrong.
I wouldn't know, but I presume that it is.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, that's a side note, but yeah, I had a great time. Can't wait to play it again.
Yeah, I think if you, especially if you like these games, I think about something like Ambush, right? People love Ambush because it was that surprising and story element to also a tactical game. This
Yeah.
is more like overworld, story.
You got tracking sheets for where we are.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You only get one, so
You need to
photocopy
make
that.
copies of it or download it.
I'm sure they got PDF, yeah. But yeah, it's like doing this, do a fight scenario, moving around, but the story aspect of it was so fun.
Oh yeah. Look at this. Squad leader campaign performance.
For the leader
Yeah,
specifically.
that's got to be something that we didn't read about. Interesting. Anyway, there's
Yeah.
some depth. There's some depth to this one.
Yes.
For sure.
And, we completed this mission, leveled our guys. They go
Yep.
from like a level 1 to level 2, and then we need more experience to go from 2 to 3. There's 4 levels of
Did
specialization.
you see the other levels? Like, did we look at those by chance? Or are we not
they
supposed
were
to?
in right here. No, I think you there's a problem with that. But they typically get more cover,
Right, which is important.
which is a big deal. But
and that means the missions are going to kind of
and you just
scale.
get more stuffs. So I'm
Yeah,
here
scout, forward.
flanking. If your first order is
Oh,
move,
yeah.
roll 2d6 at the end of your activation.
Yeah.
Take the higher value and move it that many spaces towards the marine side. So you're basically getting free move.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Deadly. When you shoot, you may reroll any number of crits and attack dice.
And that's one time per
crazy
combat. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they
Wow.
You get real good.
And that means the difficulty is going to ramp up, right? You're going to fight tougher opponents, more opponents, different skilled opponents, which is good. The game
Well,
should grow.
And I think
as
the
you
way
grow.
that it does that is it does it through volume, because this is the
Yeah.
pool of enemies. That doesn't really change, although there is
Some special ones. Oh, nice, a tank.
a tank. But like
There's a couple tanks. I
the
see.
tactics don't change, these don't change.
Yeah.
But I think it's a volumetric thing, right? Getting attacked by 8 dice, very different from
Yeah.
getting attacked by 4 dice.
Yeah, very-
And so
very painful.
The more you see of those, you'll see more of these coming out,
Yeah.
and it'll be lots of different other stipulations. But I think you just would get more powerful over the campaign, as long as you
Yeah.
guys don't get hospitalized and die.
Yeah. The best part, I enjoyed this quite a bit. We earned R&R at the end after a successful mission. And we did better on the roll because we got some bonuses from
Yeah, we
what
picked
were
up a
these
lot
cards
of
again?
boons.
Boons from completing stuff.
And we got a lot of extra boon points at the end because we had done a lot
I
of
think
good
we
stuff.
discarded and we were +4 on our roll.
Yeah. So we rolled real well when we were in Da Nang, and we got something to write home about.
We won't go into the details.
And then we rolled again and rolled really well.
Yeah. But that was fun, right?
It does exactly what you think it does.
Yeah. And there were 3 different places, I think, ultimately, that you could go. Da Nang.
There's Da Nang, there's kind of generic town.
Okay.
Or there's base.
Okay.
Where you
Da Nang's better.
You're on privy duty.
Yeah, right. And that was interesting. That was unique.
Yeah, if you do well, your LT rewards you with better R&R.
Yeah, you get some R&R, yeah.
Mess up your mission.
You're cleaning out latrines.
Yeah.
Yeah, peeling potatoes.
You're on canteen duty.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, again, it's just little bits like that where, it's a bit more complicated than just like, at the end of each mission, do this, that, and this, which some of those games have, right? Just reduce everyone's stress by 2 and then move on. Cool. But it adds that flavor in, and it adds a little bit of kind of fun, kind of fun jeopardy into that where...
Well, and it came down to a role that we had to kind of modify, which is, we decided that was something we wanted to get. And I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, there's some good ones on there.
But yeah, you modify this roll, and then this is random. And
Right.
We just happen to roll a 5.
But it was good that, these are way better than these.
And
Anyway,
if you flip it onto the other
cool.
side, I think that's the town one.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like less good.
Still good.
It's still
but not
decent.
no effect.
Right. Or a lot of these is a random Marines get rid of 1 each instead of everyone's getting rid of a bunch.
Right. Well, and that psychic damage or stress damage that builds up, that's going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, do I have the base one? Is that on here?
Probably.
Yeah. But like...
Not as good. At all.
No, bad things happen.
Yeah, right. You get more stress. Yeah. Oh, that's bad.
Like, okay.
But that was cool. That was a cool part. There's a lot to like here.
Agreed.
The wounds were cool because they actually give you some handicap. You're actually wounded. Like your arm doesn't work right, your hand doesn't work right. Slows your
reminded me a little
movement.
bit of the Alien deck builder game where you draw those strikes and it's like they have specific effects and do things.
That was kind of unique.
Yeah, it's not just here's some damage.
Yep.
There is that, but then when you accrue that, you get the wounds, which are fun. We didn't see any of the conditions, so you can get like diseases, but they just call moderate conditions, severe conditions, and
I
things
wonder
like
if
that.
some of the base and the town, you might pick up one of those. Just curious.
Some of them heal some of those things,
there you
which
go.
is you go to hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go out and you get jungle fever and
right.
malaria and things like that. That's also something can happen. We didn't see it, but there's also some lucky charms that you can pick up. Well, again, I don't know how we didn't come across that, but they just give you like cool stuff. Just give you a random reroll or things like that, which are pretty fun.
Coin. St. Jude.
Just like, heal a couple things when you do stuff.
Very cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you like
wait to play
those
again.
style of tactical games with story in it, this is Vietnam in a box, right? You're going to play through the films that you love watching.
Yep. How many times did we talk about Platoon when we were playing this?
You're going to put the soundtracks on whilst you do this.
Yeah, it was great. Very much enjoyed it.
I would... they knocked it out of the park. It was well worth the wait. But, there was one mistake that we found.
Well, it said go to section 48, and there was no section 48. It ended at 47.
Yeah.
So, and then my bipod, we think there's a mistake.
Yes, because it's flips.
It's the same ability.
Yeah, it's the same on both sides. I think one of them is supposed to be different.
Yeah, but
I think it's supposed to be deployed and undeployed.
We're assuming that, but
like, other than that, like everything else in this top tier, having a really fun time with it. And I personally love this style of game, and this is just a great thematic experience.
Well, cooperative war games are fairly rare in general. The ones that we do like Warfighter, this, War Story, they're fun and interesting because they create such a great narrative, force choices on you, and there's some dice chucking and some tactical combat. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, and this one I really liked. It was really well written, and I love going through those books.
Yeah.
I find that
satisfying.
to be very satisfying.
Yeah.
Of like, ooh, what do we do? Do we do the bad thing or the good thing?
Right.
And then you do the good thing, and it turns out bad, and you're like, no!
I was a little worried that first time we made kind of what I would call a questionable choice. And once again, it wasn't like we're torturing the guy, but we roughed him up a little bit. That sounds terrible. I'm a terrible person.
I mean, it is what happened.
But, I was like, oh, what's going to happen? We did get a negative keyword that I think did affect us later on, but it didn't.
It was a good...
You think it was a good thing? Because they were feared of it. They feared us.
We got points at the end of the game.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think
they feared us.
But that's when you start getting into kind of the really depth of some of the things that they put into this game is that like, hey, the people that we sent over there were put in
terrible situations.
Unconscionable situations.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were rewarded for those things.
Yeah.
And what did that teach people? And so...
To do more of it.
Yeah. And so you get some of that, like... Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there was smoke
Not
over the
easy.
horizon after we left an area, but...
Well, I think that's what was so hard about Vietnam. It wasn't an upfront fight.
No.
You were fighting an enemy that was elusive, that was amongst the population. There was a lot of stress. Even when you went to the bar for R&R, you could be killed. A bomb or a snipe, whatever, and it led to dehumanization of everything.
Yeah, it wasn't your grandfather's World War II where it was like us and them, good guys and bad guys. It was much more complicated than that because it was like, which one of you guys is the good guys?
Yes. Who can I trust?
Like, we got civilians, we got farmers. Are we sympathizers? Are we not? Or we are some of the time? And are you feeling that right now? And that's the kind of stuff you're faced with when you're like...
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
Well, what do you do?
It's interesting, too, because in World War II in the Pacific Theater, I think a lot of similarities were in that fighting, right? They didn't know who they could trust. It was just different. Just an interesting...
But I think...
Yeah.
In Europe, there was less of that. I'm not saying it didn't exist.
There was some of it, but a lot less.
But it was mostly like, hey, we're going to go and liberate France from an occupying force.
Yeah.
The French typically aren't going to be shooting us in the back.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas in something like this where, hey, we found a group of villagers and who knows?
Yeah.
And you genuinely, reading the choices you have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea.
And so you're like, great, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What do we think is going to help us in this moment?
Yeah.
And so you make that choice, and then
Yeah.
you see what happens. And so then, do you just like follow that up and go hard down that route, or you're like, whoa, 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 whoa?
Yeah.
I don't.
Back up.
That didn't turn out as well as we wanted it to. And I also loved that there was lots of grey answers to it as well.
There was, yeah.
Where it was like,
There was.
you do a thing, and it's like, half your squad's not happy about it.
Yep.
But you got this thing.
Wasn't
I
there
guess.
one that we did take? What did was it? Psychic damage? What is that? Psychic is Cthulhu.
I think
stress.
Yeah, we'll just call it stress.
But one of the things we did, some of the guys got stressed.
Yes.
And once again, it wasn't that we murdered anybody, but it was
We created refugees.
we did something that displaced them. Yeah, and it was, But those are the choices that you have to make in this game, and I think that's interesting. When you can force those on players, that's very interesting. You don't get that in a Hex Encounter war game, right?
No.
It's about battle lines and movement and breakthrough combat. That's awesome too. It's just different.
But that's why I love these co-op. Because you can do it solo and you have the great theme and it's very narrative. But when you're sat at a table with 3 other people,
What do we wanna
you
do?
get to talk it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's half the joy of a game like this. Of
Yeah.
like, we're faced with what do we do
Yep.
with the orcs orphanage, right? What do we do with the baby orcs, right?
Yeah.
That's the classic D&D conundrum.
Yeah.
And you get that in a situation that's much more realistic.
Yeah.
And so you're faced with those, you have to contend with them, you have to have the chat about it, and you're like, and then the squad leader's like, we're doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to play more of this for sure.
It's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
I could not be happier with how it
Yeah.
turned out. I'm really impressed with the tactical changes from what it was to what it is. It's not an overwhelming tactical system. It's pretty clean and easy once you kind of do it once.
A lot going on, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, and and it's a big improvement from what it was.
Yeah, we need to get that copied so
Yeah,
we can write
print
this
some of
all
those
down.
out, and then dive on into the rest of the missions.
I want to
And
play a majority of those.
I'll
so-
be on the phone with UPS saying, "Where's the expansions?"
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
You got to check this out. Honestly, this is really, really good. If this is the style of game that you like,
And we're not trying to hype this up. This is that good. It's just that good.
no,
Right?
it literally, this is like almost like a game that was designed for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they took all of the things that I like and put it into a box.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about War Stories. Where like I love that kind of game.
Oh, yeah.
And that's also really good
Right
in
over there.
a smaller package with a smaller scope, and the
Mm-hmm.
the streamlining that they did is really cute and it works really, really well.
Yeah.
This is beefier. I could not be
involved.
more on board with the Vietnam theme as well. And
2 very good Vietnam War games we've played in the past
and
couple
just
of weeks.
like it's just big. There's lots to do.
Yeah.
Do I eat my rations now or do I wait? Do I
Yeah.
use my ammo for like to
Spray fire.
spray a bunch of lead down range,
Yep.
or do I try to conserve my ammo? When do I do? All these little things that you have to consider just make it just mouth-wateringly good. I really, really
100%.
enjoyed it. So yes, Purple Haze from Phalanx. We'll do a kind of more in-depth review and really like show as much as I can. I'll do some of
Without
it very
spoiling.
generically without spoiling it later on.
I think definitely showing the tactical side when we get to the full review would be very, very important.
yeah, tactical stuff's nice and easy because I
Yeah,
set
because
that
there's
up.
no spoilers there. And there's really no spoilers here either.
No, well, I'll
You
set
could
that
just
up generically
Put
as
out
well.
generic stuff.
And I'll show like the introductory mission brief for like mission
Right.
1 and
Well, even the stuff here randomly changed. Meaning we had to randomly determine that by flipping those cards over. Which ones were they?
It was
This
the
one?
boon cards.
The boon cards, whatever they are.
They're under here.
And it said, 5 spaces this way. So
Yeah,
that's going to change
yes
every time, which makes it harder. But, that's the way it is.
But it was really, really good. This comes with some pretty high recommendations. There'll be
Yeah.
again like a full review once we've done at least a couple missions or 2, so that we can maybe talk to more about that campaign progression and what that looks like, and reusing the guys,
Yeah.
seeing if they go to hospital or not,
Yeah, we need to play some more.
all sorts. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. I've been Alexander for PlayerSafe.com.
And I'm Grant.